Hey besties, it's Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing the mid-year freakout tag. I don't think there's ever been a year that I've done it actually in June, because June would be mid-year because that's the 6th month of the year, but I think literally every year I've posted it sometime in July. So we love consistency. At least I've been uploading it, because you know there's a few years where my uploads were like few and far between. So at least we're here, besties. At least we're here. Before we get into this video, I do want to channel our Lord and Savior Jordaline by saying that I feel as though I've never looked better. I don't know what it is about this top or the way that I did my makeup, but I'm just really feeling it today. And I really appreciate the way that Jordaline always calls out on her videos when she's just looking like chef's kiss. And I want to be that confident queen too. So I'm just here to say that like I'm really vibing with this. Like shout out to Abercrombie for this new asymmetrical top that I got recently. Like literally none of my clothes fit and it was a bit discouraging, but I just thought, let me just go buy new things that fit my new body and be confident. And if you're feeling any of the feelings that I've been feeling lately where you're just not really feeling yourself, like I don't know about you, but I work from home, so I don't like wear makeup a lot or do a lot of things that are like self-care oriented besides maybe like my skincare. And so I'm just like, go out there and do something that makes you feel good, whether that's a hobby, doing your hair, buying a new top, whatever you need to do. Just look in the mirror and say you are enough, you're beautiful, and that's that. So yeah, thank you to Jordaline for being our example on how we should talk to ourselves. And yeah, let's just progress and get into the video. Okay, so question number 1 is best book that I've read so far in 2021. And for that, I'm gonna have to say I actually don't have it with me. I'm not really used to owning books, so I forget to bring them down off my shelves if I'm filming and I actually own the book, so please hold. Okay, this is gonna be a big surprise for everyone, but I'm gonna go ahead and say House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. If you haven't seen my Giving Authors I Hate a Second Chance video, I recommend you go watch that because I am now an SJM convert. I don't really want to read her other books, like I don't really want to read like the Ekatar series or Throne of Glass or anything, but anything that this woman writes that is urban fantasy, I will be reading. This was just phenomenal. This was fantastic. This was show-stopping. All the things that Lady Gaga says in that like one little soundbite, that is what this book is. Like it was just actually a masterpiece. I laughed, I cried, I was intrigued with the world building. Honestly, I preferred the world building, honestly, even over the romance. Like the romance was good, but the world was better. Like if she wrote a million books just in this world that she's built, I would read them. I would give that woman my money. I've actually already ordered the second book. I have it up there on my shelf over there. I don't think you can see it, but I literally bought both. The only thing that I can complain about is that this cover aggravates my tryptophobia. So if you've never heard of that, it's like a fear of like clusters and weird patterns and holes. And there's something about like the filigree on her neck. Like I literally can't look at it even to like talk about it with you guys, but hopefully I'm pointing in the right direction. But like her neck area has this weird filigree and it really just like aggravates like the part of my brain that can't look at weird patterns. And then on the second book there's also a pattern on the guy's chest, and it really aggravates me. The next question is the best sequel you've read so far this year, and again I did not get this book down from my shelf. Okay, the best sequel I've read is Anne of Avonlea by L.M. Montgomery. Honestly, any of the sequels in the Anne of Green Gables series are really good. If any of you don't know, I read Anne of Green Gables at the very beginning of the year because I read Booktuber's Favorite Books, and Ariel Bassett had really enjoyed Anne of Green Gables last year, and so I read it with really low expectations because I kind of just thought of it as a children's classic. I didn't think I'd get anything out of it, and the way that Anne has literally changed my life. Like I literally am obsessed with Anne. I would die for Anne. I've already read like 5 books in the series, and out of 8 I just picked this one because I do think the second one might be my favorite in the series so far. I don't know, they all have a lot of merit to them. I think the 5th one that I read recently might have been my least favorite. They're just all like fantastic. This book is the one when Anne, I think, is like age 15 to 19 and she is a teacher in Avonlea. But let me back up. I guess if you don't know the plot of Anne of Green Gables, it is about this couple, their brother and sister. Why did I call them a couple? They're brother and sister. That would be incest. A brother and sister duo who both have never been married, own a farm, and they decide they want to adopt a little boy to help them on the farm. And there is a mix-up at the orphanage, and so they end up sending Anne, and she is just so delightful, so precocious, so wonderful that they decide to keep her. And so they raise her even though she can't like help on the farm. And it's just about Anne kind of growing up, getting into trouble, making friends, and she's just such a beautiful and optimistic character. Like I wish that I could be more like Anne. Like she's just amazing. I won't lie, I do feel like part of why I became a redhead is because I love Anne of Green Gables so much. I've always wanted to be a redhead, but this book series may have pushed me more. Also, this series that I bought, like these covers are fantastic. These are the Canadian Tundra books like box set. I had to search for them on eBay. Like when I want a certain version of a book, I will find it, but they're just so beautiful. Like the art style is just like phenomenal. Like no words. The next question is a new release that you haven't read yet but you want to, and for this I have Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldry, that's his name. I heard about this book from Riley, and I've seen a couple other people read it since she brought it up and read it, but apparently it is like a cozy fantasy book about, I believe, an ogre who opens a cafe, and it is a sapphic romance, and it just sounds so short, so sweet, just like everything that I'm looking for. I also feel like I haven't read that many sapphic books in my lifetime, and I definitely need to do that. I don't know why, but I feel like sapphic romance is just like not as easy to find, and so I need to be more deliberate about reading it. So I really want to read Legends and Lattes because it just sounds so cute. The next question is most anticipated release for the rest of the year, and I'm very disheartened to give the answer for this because I prepped my answers in advance, and then I like double checked them on Goodreads to like make sure that's what I wanted to say, and so I could also like save the covers in advance to talk about these since I don't own all the books. And I was so heartbroken to find that my answer for this is no longer valid. But I was going to say Silverborn by Jessica Townsend, which is the 4th book in the Morgan Crow series, and I was like so excited. That was supposed to be coming out, I believe, in like October and November of this year, and I was just like, yes, a 4th book in the series. I'm living. Like, it is like a middle grade fantasy series that's so cozy, so amazing. I would really recommend it to people who are like fans of like Ella Enchanted or Harry Potter. It just has like that whimsical middle grade vibe that like anyone of any age can read, and I was just like so excited to share that with you guys so that I could continue to hype up that series because not enough people talk about it. And then I found out when I went on Goodreads that Jessica Townsend unfortunately had to delay the release, and so it's actually coming out fall of next year. That's depressing. So what I did was I went on Goodreads and I was like, I honestly do not really keep track of new releases anymore. Like, unless an author I like is releasing a new book, I just like don't keep track of anything. I basically just like watch people's videos and then they recommend a book and I'm like, yeah, I'll read that, or like Book Talk or whatever. Like my brain doesn't really compute to like find my own books to read. I did look at a Goodreads list where they had new releases, and I came across this thriller called Just Like Home by Sarah Gailey. I really liked the cover. The pink just really spoke to me. I love when you take kind of like traditionally like feminine girly things and then make them horror. Like, there's just something about that is immaculate. And basically this book is about a woman who has lived away from home for a long time, and I think she's either in her 20s or 30s, but her mother gets really sick, so she has to come home to take care of her. But when she gets home, there's a man that's been like living there, and he is weirdly like taking like things from her childhood and like building something, like he's an artist or something. I don't really know. I read the synopsis in like 2 seconds and then wrote this down on my notepad, so I don't really fully remember what the plot's about. All I know is that in the reviews that I was reading, like everyone on Goodreads was saying that it's really eerie, it's creepy, and I believe it comes out this month. It comes out in July, so I think I'll pick that up. The next book we need to talk about is going to be upsetting for a lot of people because the prompt is biggest disappointment. And I don't want to be the one to have to say this, but I do not understand how anyone in their right mind likes The Push by Ashley Audrain. The amount of people that like this book is astronomical. I am actually the odd man out. I hated The Push so much. Like, you don't understand the feelings that it created in my heart while I was reading it. I went in expecting like, this is gonna be my new favorite thriller because everyone loves it, everyone says it's flawless, everyone's like, the writing is amazing, which I will say the writing actually is really good. If Ashley Audrain writes another book, I will give her another shot because I can tell that she's a talented writer. Unfortunately for me, the thriller itself was just not good. I read Baby Teeth last year, which is another book about a child that's evil, and I feel like Ashley has also read Baby Teeth because it kind of feel like she recycled the plot, and I also didn't like Baby Teeth. I think I gave that 2 stars. I believe I'm giving The Push 1 or 2 stars. I haven't put it on Goodreads yet. Probably gonna bump it down to 1. I think I wrote it down as 2 in like my Excel spreadsheet that I track my reading because I felt bad being the one person that hates this book. But I think the more I've like marinated on it, the more I hate it. Like, I just hate it so much. Like, there is no twist at all. You go into the plot thinking one thing and then you come out and you're like, there was no twist. Before I talk about this more, let's just sip on our drink a little bit and cool down because I'm sure you're upset with me if you love this book. This book is about a woman who has the perfect marriage. Like, she's just like living it up. Like, I love my college sweetheart. They get married. She's like loving him. Like the way the book is written, she's like writing a letter to him because you know at the very start of the book that they are separated and something like big happened. As their marriage goes on, their husband like really wants to have kids. And she doesn't really want to, but she's like, you know what? He wants them and I love him, so I'll have them. So they have a daughter and she's like, something is fucked up with this child. Like she's weird. She's off. The vibes aren't good. Like I don't want to be her mother. I don't like her. She tries to tell her husband like there's something up with this little girly, like she's not right in the head. And the husband's just like, you're just no. And also he like gaslights her a lot in the book. I literally hate that man. I think his name was Fox. Terrible name, like giving Fox News. Like I don't like that man. Then they have another child. It's a little boy and she loves the little boy. She's like, this is an innocent, pure little child. I love this child. And so it continues to add strain on their marriage because she doesn't like her daughter as much as her son and yada yada yada. Don't understand what I'm supposed to get out of this book. Like I said, it reminded me a lot of Baby Teeth. So Baby Teeth is a very similar premise. It's about a woman that has a daughter because her perfect husband wants her to have one. And honestly, in both books, the husbands are architects. So, okay. And she has her daughter and she knows there's something's like wrong with her and she tries to tell her husband, he won't listen. And as she goes to school, like the teachers start being like, okay, she's acting weird. Same thing happens in The Push. Like the daughters go to school, like other kids are like giving bad vibes. And so both books have very similar plots. I think that Baby Teeth has a little bit more of a thriller vibe to it in my opinion. Honestly, The Push is more like about generational trauma. I so desperately want to be someone that likes things like my Goodreads rating, I think average is like a 3.3 or 3.2 or something. And I don't like being this way. I wish that I had 2 brain cells and I could read things and just have a good time. Not to say that anyone who likes this only has 2 brain cells. I'm talking about myself because I don't like literally anything. Like I feel like most books I rate 3 stars. I just want to have fun. I just want to read things and have fun, but I'm too critical. The next prompt is Biggest Surprise. And honestly, we're just gonna have to call back to what I already said. And that is House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. Like, I am more shocked than anyone else could ever be that I liked this book. Like, I have never been an SJM girly. I've never liked Sarah J. Maas. I've honestly been a hater. But this here really just changed my life. So, biggest surprise, honestly. Like, I did not expect. I also might say, like, Anne of Green Gables as well. I did not think I was gonna like Anne of Green Gables, but Anne's really changed my life. The next question is favorite new author, and for this I'm going to go with a couple of authors that I have read that I just want to read more from, and that is John Mars, who is a thriller writer. I recently did a 24-hour reading vlog. If you didn't see that, I will link it down below. But I read 2 John Mars books in that. I read The One and The Passengers, and they both were just like phenomenal. They were just really fast-paced thrillers that were just like giving me the vibes. They were giving me the energy that I like out of a thriller. I gave both of them 4 stars, so I really want to read all of John Mars' backlist. I think he has 4 or 5 books beyond those 2 that I read, so I just want to read more from him. And then I'm also gonna have to go with Michael J. Sullivan, who is a fantasy writer. Again, earlier this year I did that video where I read Booktuber's favorite books, and I read Life as Monet's favorite, and that was Theft of Swords by Michael J. Sullivan. And so that is the Right Area Revelations, I believe that's the name of the series. And it's about these 2 thieves who basically get wrapped up in a like conspiracy and have to like save the prince even though they were like framed for the death of the king, and it's like a whole thing, and it gives like heist vibes. It gives just like good fantasy vibes. Like I really enjoy that series a lot. I've already read 2 of the 3 books, and he has a couple other series as well that I would like to read. So I just want to read more of him. I want to read more adult fantasy in general. So yeah, Michael J. Sullivan and John Mars are my picks. So the next prompt is one that I actually haven't had an answer to for a few years, and that is newest fictional crush, because I just don't really crush on books anymore. I feel like when I stopped reading YA, I kind of grew out of that. Not to say there's anything wrong with liking someone from a book. I love that for you if that's you. I just don't really do that anymore. So I've decided from here on out, I'm going to change this question for myself to be favorite couple, because I do really enjoy romance, and I find myself more gravitating towards whether or not I like a couple than if I like one of the people in the couple, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to go with the couple from Book Lovers. I've been finding lately that Emily Henry is very divisive. Like, not everyone likes her, which is really surprising to me because I thought everyone loved her. Because for me, she is the blueprint for what I want in romance. I've seen a lot of people on TikTok say that these books are very millennial, like from Emily Henry. And you know what? I'm 30. I'm a millennial. Maybe that's why I like them. But I just always feel like Emily Henry takes like very adult problems and thinking and like puts them into books, and I just love her writing style. I love what she has to say, and I typically like her couples a lot. Like, I don't think I've disliked any of the couples in any of her books, and I just feel like she uses romance tropes in their best forms, and she doesn't rely on the miscommunication trope. Like in this book specifically, they're both just like 2 adults that are just trying to figure out how they could like like live their lives together. Like towards the end, and there's like some stuff that happens, and I feel like her approach was just really what I'm looking for. Apparently Billy does not like Emily Henry, and that is a problem in our family. But anyway, what I was saying was that Nora and Charlie, that's the characters in this book, they're just adults figuring life out. They both work in publishing, and so at the very start of the book they have a miscommunication over like a work lunch, because Nora is an agent and Charlie is an editor, and basically Nora's trying to get this book published for her author, and Charlie really doesn't like it because it's like about this like small town in North Carolina, and he doesn't think it's realistic. Anyway, yada yada yada, fast forward I think it's a few years, or maybe it's like a year or two, I don't remember how far along it is, but they don't really interact after that, but they just had a bad taste in their mouths for each other. But basically Nora takes a girls trip with her pregnant sister to this small town in North Carolina, just so they can like recharge and get closer as sisters, and Charlie ends up being there for some reason, and so then it's kind of like them meeting while they're like in this small quaint town. They're not in New York City. It's a whole thing, and it's just a really lovely, beautiful story with just beautiful problems, beautiful things, beautiful love, and very nice sex scenes, and I loved it, and I loved them together. The next question is newest favorite character, and I'm just gonna have to go with Anne from Anne of Green Gables. I've said it more than once in this video, but Anne truly has changed my life. I just love her so much. This is another edition that I got that's just so beautiful. I honestly wish that Penguin had made like the whole series in these covers, because I would have immediately given them my money so that I could have them. But between this one and this one, I just feel like we're loving it. But I love Anne, and she will be on my heart forever. I'm really considering getting an Anne of Green Gables tattoo. I kind of want to get a tattoo that has like some butterflies and says something about like kindred spirits on it. I don't know that sounds lame, but if I do get a tattoo, I'll take you guys along for that experience. But yeah, I really want to honor little Miss Anne on my body, because I just love her positivity. Like, she is so opposite of me. Like I was also saying earlier in this video that I'm just a negative Nelly. I'm critical. I'm everything that Anne is not. But yeah, I just love my girl Anne with an E. She's absolutely beautiful. I have not watched the Netflix show yet, if anyone is wondering. I'm very afraid to watch it because I saw one clip on TikTok that was just so radically different from the books, and I don't know if I can enjoy that. I just love the book so much that if the show is not true to the books, I don't know if I'd like it. I don't know. I have heard that the 80s version is really good, so someday I will delve into the world of Anne of Green Gables adaptations, but as of today I'm too afraid. The next prompt is book that made you happy, and for that I'm gonna have to go with Theft of Swords by Michael J. Sullivan. As you can see, I'm reusing a lot of books for this. I feel like I have a few that just really spoke to me this year, but I already mentioned this when I was talking about authors that I want to read more from, and Michael J. Sullivan, he did something here. Like I was mentioning, this is a fantasy series, I believe, called The Ryrie Revelations, and our two main characters are thieves, and they kind of get embroiled in this like crown conspiracy, and then the rest of the books are kind of them exploring magic and exploring different adventures, and it's all circling back to all the politics of the kingdom, and there's some nefarious things going on with like the church and stuff. It's a whole thing, and I really love this adult fantasy series. Like, if you have not picked this up, I highly recommend it. I love it so much. I bought the box set. I do not love these covers. If someone could make special edition versions of these books, I would immediately give them my coin, because these covers actually hurt my feelings, truly. The next prompt is the most beautiful book that you've bought this year, and for that I'm gonna have to go with this box set of the Diviners. They're just simply amazing. They're everything that Diviners fans deserved, like just a redesign so that we would not have the ugly covers anymore. Just like, God bless the people who did this. I honestly can't remember who it was. It was either Illumicrate or Fairy Loot. I can't remember, because I did not actually get it from the people who released it. I was not in the book buying game when they were announcing these, and so I just completely didn't get them, and I regretted it so much, because as you can see, I've like really dedicated myself to making a library for myself so that I would have something to film in front of, and also just like to commemorate all of my favorite books, and so I was devastated. But I found somebody on Mercari selling them, and she was actually selling the whole set for a very reasonable price. It was not what a normal person would say reasonable, but I would say it was reasonable in that there were other people who had literally bought the box set just to sell, and they were selling them for like over $400, and I bought it for probably like $175. I know, that's a lot for 4 books, but this is one of my all-time favorite series, and I literally have a tattoo, like I have the eye from the front, like I have like a less detailed version of it, but they're just so beautiful. Let me show you all of them. This is obviously the Diviners. They added the foiling. The cover is pretty much what was already there, but then they went ahead and made everything match, which is just phenomenal, because all the other covers, as you know, if you know the history of the Diviners, they were just god awful. But then here we have Layer of Dreams. I love the red because this book takes place in Chinatown, a lot of it, so I feel like I love that element. And then we have like the tarot cards up here, and they're just like following the pattern. And then we have Before the Devil Breaks You. We got the top hat from the King of Crows, and this blue. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And then lastly, we have the King of Crows, and we have a crow, and they're just so beautiful. They're so beautiful. I do not regret my purchase at all. Like, the fact that these are in my possession is just like, I'm salivating. Like, they're just so gorgeous, and the foiling, it's amazing. It's amazing. And honestly, when I looked up how much the box cost originally, I do think it was already over $100 or around that price. So me paying like, you know, $70 to $80 more, it makes sense, because, you know, I had to pay for shipping and taxes and stuff. But overall, I am not mad that I own these. Also, on top of that, underneath the dust jacket, there's actually like the little like whatever's up here is here as well. So it's just actually gorgeous. The final question is, what books do you need to read before the end of the year? And for that, I don't really have specific answers. I just want to read more. I think I've read about 45 books so far this year, and I feel like I'm kind of lagging behind on my goal. I really wanted to read 80 this year, because last year I read 65, and I feel like I've just been kind of in a reading slump lately, and I'm just like finding myself consuming more other media, like watching TV or like playing my Switch or just like living my life. And so I definitely want to be more diligent about reading the rest of the year. And so in general, I want to read more adult fantasy. I feel like I've been shying away from fantasy a lot this year, and I want to read a lot more thrillers and horror. I feel like I've been doing pretty well reading romance. I still feel like that's one of my top like read genres. So I'll just continue that, but I just want to read more stuff that I like. Like I was saying earlier, I kind of have this problem where I don't enjoy a lot of books, and so even though I don't think it's been like a bad reading year, I don't think it's been like phenomenal either. Like, I really just want to be like ranting and raving about how much I love certain books. So if you have any books that you've read this year that you think I'd really enjoy, please let me know down below. Like, let me know what your favorites are. Maybe I could do a video where I read your favorite books, or just books in general. I guess they don't have to be from this year, but just anything that you think I'd enjoy that's like your all-time favorite book that you're just like, Sarah without nature like this. Please let me know down below, because I would love to read it. But yeah, that brings me to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had a good time. You know, that this is mid-year and we're freaking out. So that's that. I don't know why I said that. That was really weird. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. You're all beautiful. Have a nice day.